everyone. Greetings to you from the Isle of Iona off of the coast of Scotland. I currently am sitting on what's known as the Abbot's Hill, and behind me is the Iona Abbey, and that cross you see back there is called St. Martin's Cross. It's actually the most well-preserved example of the ancient Celtic crosses on the British Isles. So here I am at the Abbey at Iona. It's a big part of the history of Celtic Christianity, and it was founded by a man named Comgall back in the 500s. It was kind of a contemporary movement of what also was happening in Bangor. And at the Iona Abbey, you have a lot of the preservation of literature and scribing. It's also what becomes kind of the governmental center of Celtic Christianity, and a lot of the interaction and the hub of what's going on in Celtic Christianity. So today, there's a couple things on my heart. Well, one, I'm sitting on, as I said, the place, the hill that Columba's hut was at, where he would scribe out the word and books, and he had a great legacy in that area. And I feel a very personal connection to that history because it's part of that artisan role and the scribing of the word, that keeping of the record. And even before this trip, I just really felt a stirring from the book of Revelation. I was meditating on Revelation 1:18, where Jesus is talking to John, and John falls on his face, and Jesus is saying who he is to him, and he's saying, "Do not be afraid, I am the Alpha and the Omega, and I hold the keys of death and of Hades. Therefore, write in a book the things which you see and send it to the churches." And I just felt such a conviction from the Lord that he was saying, this is my story. I'm going to reveal myself to you in this. Therefore, make a record of it and send it forth because I want to use it. And so here I am sitting in a place that has a long legacy and a heritage of the scribing and the keeping of the record, sending forth the record. And it was really a bright burning torch in history, known for that. It was also really known as a governmental center. And I want to talk about that because I've been spending time in prayer the last couple of days, and I really feel that God is talking about the government of his house and what it looks like for that to be established in this time. And really what he is going to accomplish in this time is the establishing of that doorway entry point so that people can come into the government of heaven. And that is really what this is about, the house of heaven being established. And I just feel a strong witness, a strong destiny on this place concerning that it will be a place that will be a gate in the spirit and for the nations, a gate for people to come in to the order of the government of heaven. And even the experiences I've had the past few days, coming into some difficult situations, and yet the government of peace in the midst of it, it was like one door after another just being opened up. And that is what is being established. And really what's on my heart is that priesthood of Melchizedek. And we know that in the Old Testament, we see that Melchizedek is the king of Salem. And Melchizedek's name is the king of righteousness. And Salem is the city of peace. And as I was praying yesterday, I was seeing a picture of a sword, the sword of Hebrews 4. In Hebrews 4, it talks about this sword that comes to pierce and divide. And it really pierces down even to the thoughts and intentions of the heart. And this sword brings right alignment. It separates out spirit and soul. It brings forth that which needs to be stripped away and that which needs to remain. And I believe that in this time that God is stirring hearts, because it's time to come off that ground of man's ministry and allow the government of heaven to be established. And that sword is a part of that function, and it brings us into rest. It's the Hebrews 4 talks about entering into the Sabbath rest, the government of God's peace. Jesus, the Prince of Peace, head over that government. So I just believe that God is speaking concerning this place, Iona, that there's a destiny, even in the coming days, for the government of peace to be established and a gateway to be opened up for the house of heaven to be a witness in this land. And that as the nations stream in and out of this place, it's for the inheritance of the eternal priesthood, and that God is going to build his house. He's going to set that infrastructure in place. So right now I just release a blessing over this place for the destiny of the Lord to come forth, for the house of heaven to be established here, and the government of God to be made known throughout the earth.